Hello guys, welcome to another video and thank you so much for visiting my channel. My name is Natasha, I'm a polyglot, I'm fluent in 9 languages, currently working on my language number 10, which is German. And in today's video, I want to share with you 4 things that I believe everyone should avoid doing when trying to learn a new language. These 4 things are based on my own experience and my own mistakes that I have been making over almost 20 years of language learning, and also on mistakes and experiences of other people I know that are learning languages. So I hope that with this video I'm going to save your time and your energy and save you from disappointment and giving up on language learning. So let's start. Thing number 1 I believe everyone should avoid when trying to learn a new language is paying for a language learning course. I know that this is a very controversial take, so let me explain it a little bit better. I think that only language learning course that makes sense paying for is individual course where you will have a teacher who is only working at you at the time. But I also know that these courses are usually pretty expensive, and in a case you are someone who is learning languages for fun and not because you need it for a job or because you're moving to a new country, it doesn't really make sense to waste that much money on this when there are so many other ways to learn a language. What I mean by when I say that you shouldn't pay for a language learning course is that you should not pay for one of those courses where you're being taught in groups, like 20 students and one teacher. I think that this is a big nonsense, and there are so many other ways to learn a language, and this is definitely a waste of your money. But at the same time, there are 2 main problems I have with language learning courses. Problem number 1 is the fact that I have noticed that when people pay for something, they somehow feel entitled to success. This has happened to me when it comes to languages. The only language I have ever paid for to someone to teach me is German, and as you can tell, I still don't speak German. I'm still learning it. I started learning it recently, and this time by myself. I'm not paying anyone to teach me, and I hope I will be successful. But I have noticed that a lot of us have that issue that when you pay for something, you somehow think, well, it has to work. I mean, I paid for it. Teacher has to teach me. I have to be successful because I invested some money. This, unfortunately, is not how language learning works. And second problem that I have also noticed in myself is that when you are frequenting a language learning course, you tend to invest less of your free time in learning a language. When I was having this German learning course, I used to go there 3 times a week for 45 minutes. And somehow in my brain, I was thinking, okay, I'm going to this language school 3 times a week. I'm staying there for 45 minutes. That should be enough. Like, I should not have to dedicate more of my free time to learning German because I'm already dedicating my time and money to this course. And I was thinking this even though I was already experienced with language learning, even though I already spoke few languages that I have learned by myself, but still, like, my brain was totally wrong without even realizing that I'm wrong. And I was thinking, okay, these 45 minutes 3 times a week are perfectly enough. And this is what most of the people that are paying for these courses are expecting. They're expecting that since they paid and since they're actually physically going somewhere to a school, they don't have to do anything else, and they will definitely be successful because, that's what language courses serve for. I feel that instead of doing this, you should definitely try to learn language yourself at home. Luckily, we live in 21st century, so you have all possible sources online. And I feel that you are very likely to be more successful than with this language course because you will be, first of all, dedicating more of your time, because you will be thinking, okay, I'm learning this alone. I don't have a teacher, so I have to try a little harder. And this is key to success. You trying harder, you being more invested in this learning process. And I feel that's something that you're missing on when you pay to someone to teach you a language. Thing number 2 everyone should avoid doing when learning a new language is focusing too much on sounding like native or improving your accent. I think that when you are learning a new language, you should absolutely work on your pronunciation because it's pretty important for other people to be able to understand you. However, I believe that trying very hard to sound like native speaker and covering or hiding your native language accent is complete waste of time. First of all, it's never going to happen. I don't think it's possible to sound like a native speaker if you're not one. I know that after 10, 20, 30 years of life in a new country, your accent in that language is going to become better. However, I think that your native language accent is always going to come through and it's always going to be there, and that's completely normal. And I also think it's such a waste of energy to focus on something that's in the end not even that important. And I hate when people point out other people's accents all the time and make fun of them. This is so stupid and it's so irrelevant when it comes to language learning. You have to be able to express yourself. People have to be able to understand you. So you should work on your pronunciation, but you should never focus too much on trying to sound like a native speaker. It's pointless, it's never gonna happen. And I know that a lot of people use actors as an excuse, like how was this actor able to change his accent for this movie? First of all, those actors are usually speaking in their native language, and it's very easy, for example, for an American actor to pretend that they're British, or for a British actor to pretend that they have an American accent. It's always easier to fake accent when you're speaking your native language. And also these actors are faking their accent for like 10 minutes or for 2 scenes in a movie. They're not living their life speaking in an accent that's not naturally theirs. So I think that you, as a normal person or average language learner, trying to focus too much on changing your native language accent and trying to sound like something that you're not is complete waste of time. It's going to waste your energy. It might also make you feel less self-confident when speaking a new language, and I think that's totally unnecessary, and you should definitely never focus on something like this. Thing number 3 that you should avoid doing in the case you want to learn a new language is focusing too much on unnecessary vocabulary. This is a mistake I have committed with pretty much every foreign language I have ever learned. I remember times in school when I was forcing myself to learn names of all possible animals out there in different languages, and it was complete waste of time and waste of energy, and I still didn't learn all that. I think that it is really stupid to focus your attention on learning words that you're never gonna need, that you're never gonna use when speaking in this new language, and instead you should try to focus to learn words and expressions that you might use in everyday life, and also try to focus on those fields of life that you are interested in. But I definitely don't think that it's necessary for you to know every single word related to a field that you cannot even talk about in your native language. I know that some people might say, well, then if you don't know everything or almost everything, that means that you don't really speak the language. I don't think it's true. I believe that speaking language is being able to have normal, fluent conversations on a lot of topics, but not on all topics. So there is definitely no need for you to focus on memorizing vocabulary that you don't really even use in your native language. It's complete waste of time, and it's also gonna slow you down a lot, waste your energy, and you might even give up on a new language because you're forcing yourself to learn something that's totally irrelevant to you. And last mistake, or thing number 4 that I feel everyone should avoid when learning a new language, is focusing too much on movies and sources that are meant for language learners. Let me explain this a little bit better. When you're starting to learn a new language, it's completely normal to use books, audios, conversations, movies, shows that are meant for language learners. That's something that right now I'm using with German. However, if you only focus on this, you are missing on a very important part, which are different dialects. I have noticed this mistake with almost everyone who is learning languages. You know those situations when you learn languages in school and you have a feeling that you speak the language because you understand so much and you know so many expressions and sentences. And then once you travel to a country where that language is spoken, you are completely confused and you cannot understand anything because people there are either speaking with different dialects, which pretty much every country has, or you might come in contact with people of different education levels, and people like that also tend to use different expressions and speak differently. This is a mistake that a lot of people make, and they, instead of focusing on just normal, natural language, they're focusing on this standard official target language that's only spoken in books or by actors in movies. They're focusing on people who have perfect pronunciation instead of focusing on just normal everyday people. And in my opinion, the way to solve this is to start watching movies that are not meant for language learners. Try watching just normal movies that are in your target language, normal shows. And another thing that I find really useful are all those videos that are really popular on social media where someone is walking around with a microphone and interviewing people, just normal people on the street. I think this is a great way to actually come in touch with real language and real native speakers, to hear different accents, to hear different dialects. And trust me, in the beginning you will be shocked, because sometimes the real language that's spoken on the street by normal people, it can sound totally different than the one you were taught in school or that you were trying to learn online. But this is very important, and try to come out of your bubble of a language learner and try to get in touch with real people, real native speakers, and real language that's spoken out there. So that was it for today. These were my 4 things that I believe everyone should avoid when it comes to learning a new language. I hope this video is going to spare you wasted time and wasted energy, and I hope this is going to help you learn a new language and avoid these mistakes that, as I have said, I have made pretty much all of them over these 20 years of my life. This is how long I have been learning languages. Let me know in the comments, have you ever made any of these mistakes? I'm sure you have. Also, please let me know if you have any other things that you would recommend everyone to try avoid doing when learning a new language. And thank you so much for watching. See you next week.